I started making my own compositions already at a very early age because I wanted to become a composer more than I wanted to become a piano player actually. But I was, I think, like 14, 15 years old when I discovered different music. I discovered funk music, I discovered rock and pop like everyone from my age. And I was kind of attracted to the fact that we could improvise on stage actually, so that we didn't really have to follow the classical composition as it was written out. And I think jazz is actually the best way to improvise on a stage. So in a way you could say that playing jazz music is like instant composing. It's composing on the spot itself. And that's what attracted me the most, I think, of playing jazz. And because every concert is different. Every night is a different concert. Everyone can take his own responsibility, musical responsibility, to change the music every second. And that makes it very creative for me, and that makes it also very attractive to play that genre on the stage. Improvising is actually the thing that attracts me the most. I think the liberty of improvising is that really attracts me. It's also in my personality. I think I'm the kind of person that needs his own freedom, his own space, also in a society, in daily life. And I also need that in music. I can also play classical music, and I do some pop projects now and then I have to play exactly every note as it is supposed to be. And that's also a nice way of making music, but it doesn't attract me as much as improvising, because improvising makes every concert a different concert, and that's actually, yeah, that's the kind of freedom that I adore. Here are some of the pianists that I really like. To start with, the classical pianist that I really listened to a lot was Horowitz, because I loved his touch on the piano. I loved also the way he had his own personal interpretation of big music. Let's say, for example, the third piano concerto of Rachmaninoff. The way Horowitz plays that piece of music changes everything for me. That changed my world. So that's one. And then in jazz, I think I've been listening a lot to Keith Jarrett because I love his melodies. He's always singing, and I don't mean physically, but I mean all his lines that he's playing always come from a melody. For me, he's actually the Mozart of jazz piano players. And then there is, of course, Brad Mehldau, that I really love a lot too, because Brad was the first one to develop actually a contrapoint melody in the left hand, and I think that's very important too. I try to see, or I try to think of the piano as an orchestral instrument. For me, since it has such a big range, almost everything is possible on a piano, and I try to use the piano in that way too. And I think Brad Mehldau is somebody who really understood that aspect of piano playing. Actually, for the moment, I'm really busy writing music for 3 movies at the same time. So that takes a lot of my energy, my time for the moment. And then besides of that, I just finished a very, very big and important composition for myself. That's my 2nd piano concerto. So it's a concerto for piano and symphonic orchestra that we're going to perform for the first time next year in October. That's a very important project for me. And then for my trio, I have written a new repertoire that we're going to start playing and recording in June next year. And for that repertoire, I added 5 instruments, 5 horn players. And I entitled the cycle of those compositions, The Sons of the New World. We are the children of a new world. Because I believe that we've come to a point where everything is changing. The economical crisis, for example, in Europe is really changing our way of seeing at things, looking at things. We have to be ready for the people who need help. For example, Greece at this moment. So that's changing. The climate is changing. If we see to what happens in Japan, for example, with the tsunami, and then the threat of yeah, that something really bad happened actually with the electricity producers there in the country. And then the Arabic Revolution is very important too, I think, because that's the first time that I know in history that the revolution over there doesn't come from other countries who imply that on their country, like for example the United States, who come there with their army and they try to change stuff, or the Russians who come and try to change stuff. No, this time it comes from the people itself. They stand up for their rights, literally, and they fight for democracy. And that's actually, I think, a very hopeful sign too. So I entitled that cycle Sons of the New World, a sign of hope. So because I think it's important to believe in the good parts in people, and that there is always a very positive energy going on too, and that we don't have to be blind for that we have to be brave and celebrate that in life. So that's actually a very important project. We're gonna do a CD recording with that repertoire, but for those concerts, I'm also gonna work together with a light engineer who's gonna design a very beautiful light landscape. There is going to be a painter, a very young painter from Ghent that I believe in. He's really, really good. Louis Samen is his name. And he's making a whole cycle of paintings around that idea. He's also going to do some live painting on the concerts. We're making a video clip. I'm working together with video artists who are going to design and develop a very beautiful video on one of the songs. And we're going to use those projections too on stage. And it's actually, the idea is that I want to bring together all different kinds of art, and that is going to be like one big, strong idea, actually. And that's basically what I'm going to do next year.